to Ma Saraswati, Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Vidya Rupena Sanstita, Namastasye, 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 Namo Namaha. The sense of humility is a part of Indian culture, which is not to have the sense of ego or the sense of I. Though when I'm speaking, I'm also saying I many, many times. But the way we refer to ego and the way we use I in our communication is slightly different. It is also related to the way we perceive the goal of our life. Now, what is the purpose of our life was given to us by our sages in our different scriptures, in Sanatan Shastras. When you look at the goal of life as moksha, it is not an impractical thing. It is not to do away with the material comforts of the pleasures of life. It is actually being empowered with that vision which would help us in not feeling caught up in the sense of miseries, which sometimes they question imbalance of our expectations and what comes our way when it is wide. We feel a sense of restlessness. Now, when the goal is so big, we feel very good. Now, my goal right now is to share, and I feel, am I doing justice to it? Am I qualified enough to sustain your attention and add value to this communication? If I take a route where I say, no, no, I'm not capable, that means I do not have enough shraddha, which happens many times with us. Then we invoke the presence of Guru, then we invoke Saraswati Mata. It could be any other circumstances, and Ma Saraswati also helps us in being active. How, if you read this mantra, Ya Kundendu Tushara Haradavla, it concludes with Samam Patu Saraswati Bhagavati Nishesh Jadya Paha. So there is also a prayer that help me in doing away with my indolence or let me not be lazy. And many times we are intellectually lazy. Many times we are present, but we are not present. And this sense of distraction takes away our potential without our being aware that there is a thief which we have allowed and that is stealing the most precious aspect of our being. Now, Bharat Mata makes us aware about what is most precious, and I'll talk about that a little later. But let's remember how the days unfolded for us. Every day when sun god arrives, whole nature becomes active. We find a space and time continuum for us to perform actions and to realize our dreams. So, in essence, if there was no sun and we didn't have enough space as well as energy, as well as heat and light to do what we need to do, there would be nothing. Let us compare sun with the power of speech. When we speak, there is also a fire. Literally, there could be fire if our words are filled with certain rage, and that fire may reach to somebody else and activate them also in a sense of fire. But we also may have a sense of calmness in our speech, and it may touch somebody in such a way that they feel a sense of peace and harmony. So there is a power in our speech, and how we utilize that makes it a perfect or imperfect speech. Whether we are using our speech to reveal the truth or hide the truth, that would also make it an imperfect speech or a perfect speech. Let us look at the wonderful aspect of words which carry certain type of energy, and that is amenable to, as I mentioned, the feeling of love or the feeling of hate. words stay as witness, the way sunlight stays as a witness. Whether somebody is killing somebody or somebody is helping somebody, sunlight is there just as a witness. The same way, words allow themselves to be used by us in the way that would make them an extension of who we are. Now, who we are can also be shaped and reshaped with the help of words. So we will come to that, but let us consider this. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Now, as the translation is given here in English, let's read that. Om, that is perfect, this is perfect. From the perfect springs the perfect. If the perfect is taken from the perfect remains. And that remainder is us, you. So all that has come from the perfect being, and that which remains is perfection. Now, we forget that this is perfect because we work with limited sense of our identity, uh, which has built over a period of years through practice, conditioning, etc. But you would agree with me, life is interesting. Nobody wants to die, nobody wants to go away. There is a sense of joy in the inflow and outflow of breath. So they said, Raso ve saha. Truly, the Lord is Rasa. This comes from Taittiriya Upanishad. The essence of life, when we are aware of it and we carry that awareness with ourselves wherever we go, in all our transactions, then that sense of fulfillment at every moment makes our lives uh, a kind of perfect in some way. But let's go further and appreciate that this world is a participatory world. It is not a one way street, it's a two-way street. And our Shastras also talk about how this came into being, where the term or the expression eko hum bahusyam we are greeted with. Now, what is eko hum bahusyam? So, the one who is created, it was his sankalpa, he was one and he wanted to be many. So, he saw himself in multiple forms. Just by sankalpa, the creation came into being. There are different ways of making this point, but let's hold on to this. All this variety, which is infinite, has come from one. And if we, while appreciating this variety, are aware of that sense of oneness, it makes our life full of joy, and we don't get caught into me and my or your, in the sense that it acts as a way of bondage. Now, Bharatiya sages investigated through introspection and observation on the pattern of creation. The coding of those findings aimed at appreciating the core of continuous, limitless expansion in the form of galaxies, play and interplay of five elements that amazed them. Bharatiya thought was not confined to a group of people or a rigid way of life or a limited geographical space. Some of the most profound aphoristic expressions of Bharatiya Manisha as is this Rasove Saha. They were also able to, through their contemplation, meditation, see the working of different planets and have those mathematical calculations which are amazing that without such supercomputers, they could predict the time of sunrise and sunset and thousands of years ago. How could they do that is beyond our comprehension, but there was something deeper uh, with which they were guided, which was neither name nor fame nor wealth. That pure uh, quest for truth or knowledge not only made them rich with knowledge, they were also generous enough to leave that in the form of codified form in our shastras so that we can discover, uncover, learn. And there is a dynamic kind of relationship with reality about which sages were cognizant. The way you perceive also changes that which you are perceiving. This science has also started understanding who is looking, how his eyes are perceiving the light, the color that you see and someone else is looking at, or there are so many species in our wonderful world, how they see that is different. So there is no one uh, rigid reality in the sense of the way that we perceive reality. So is it illusion? Many questions arise, and when we look with shraddha at these questions and the way they were dealt by in our shastras, we reach to one conclusion, that I belong to the creator, and I belong to the creator gradually through contemplation leads some sadhakas to this aham brahmasmi, I am he. But if we say it without realizing what is Brahma, who am I, it might not be truths. Truth has to be realized. Otherwise, it may be meaningless or it may be a show off sort of thing that we may carry externally without having the actual benefit of being one with truth. That which is absolute truth is beyond cause and effect, it is beyond time. So that Mahakal is also worshipped in the with the name Mahakal in Ujjain. Now, what is my relationship with that Mahakal? Is that all pervading, omnipotent, omniscient being who has created this? How is he helping me, or how I can align my being with him? These were the questions which resulted into a word yagya. Now, yagya is the ultimate uh, direction given to us in leading an ideal life. So let us make our life a yagya, but how we do that, Saraswati Mata helps, and it is also a great help to learn that when we feel miserable, there is a way out because it is our mind, it is the way we think that lands us in such a limited cage. And then when we start reading what adventurous, courageous findings our sages have left for us in the form of shastras, we become aware that there is no mind. It is just the flow of thought that is referred to as mind. And this flow of thoughts or different thoughts that emerge have something to do with the kind of food that we eat. It also has a lot to do with the way we breathe. So they gave us a pattern and a very, very well laid out scientific structure to guide our way of thinking, our way of feeling, and also certain pointers about what is the best way of thinking and how to have a sense of fulfillment, or rather, how to have a sense of dynamic fulfillment. So, whatever we do, if we are in tune to the essence of our being and we operate with a sense of fullness, it adds beauty, it adds value to us as well as to our surroundings. Our sages were artists, our sages were scientists. What they have given us is a pattern of life which has a structure, but also it has spontaneity. A jnani who is crystal clear about the nature of jnana knows that Gyeya and Gyata shares a bond that has its own sanctity. Upanishads are Upanishad meaning sitting near. So sitting near in silence, yes, but that silence also has options of question and answer between genuine seeker and enlightened master. If we say bliss is equal to gyan, that would be perfect speech. And this speech, meaning this knowledge can be conveyed in silence, is very well depicted with the reference of Bhagwan Dakshinamurti, who in his Mauna Mudra, Chin Mudra, gave jnana to brother Sanat Kumar. We are blessed with the flow of the light of knowledge through words as well as through silence. If somebody is not open to sensitive listening and is only focusing on what he or she doesn't have, he is caught up in a sense of blame game. So if he or she is blaming everyone, he's full of grudges and regrets. And if you tell him that you are bliss, will he or she accept it? If we put our hands in front of our eyes, will we be able to see the beauty around us? So these are certain ways which also takes us to the very, very pious, significant, profound relationship between Guru and Shishya. So let's take a look at this again. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamataya Purnameva Vashishyate. And here is a reference from Maitri Upanishad where Bhagwan Maitri Kailash Jagam Tam Gat Wo Vacha Bho Bhagwan Parama Tattva Rahasya Manu Bruhiti Sa Hovach Mahadeva. So after this, Mahadevji says, Deho Devalaya Prokta Sa Jiva Kevala Shiva Tajed Gyan Nirmalyam Soham Bhavena Pujayet. So this human body is the abode of the divine. That is what Lord Mahadev is saying, and anything other than that is uh, to be forsaken. Like after puja, the nirmalya, what that which is offered is to be given up. But what we are willing to give up depends on our shraddha. Shraddha. What is our way of thinking and how we are attached to certain aspects of life. Sometimes even that which is false becomes dear to us, and then we keep on having special affection for it, and we don't want to let it go. So letting go is important, is also underlined in several shlokas of Bhagavad Gita, where mm, anasakt Shakti is given due importance. Asanga shastrena dradena chitva. So asangata is also referred by Lord Krishna as a kind of weapon. Asanga shastrena dradena chitva. Tata padam tat parimargitavyam. So that where we need to go, let's say we hear about Atma to Paramatma. First, we have to become aware of what is Atma. And moving to this aspect where Bhagavad Gita says, Brahmanyadaya karmani sangam tyaktva karoti yah lipyate na sa pape na padma patra vimvambasa. Those who do all the actions as duties without expecting anything in return remains untouched by pap or karma, just like a lotus leaf, which even though stay in the water all the time, still remains untouched by it. There are wonderful similes with which the essence of a proper living is given to us. There are numerous tales, and let's recollect from Upanishad the reference where sage Yagyavalkya is going, leaving his ashram behind. So his wife, uh, they are Gargi and Maitreyi, when he's asked about what is more valuable than his wives and all the cows and the property of the ashram, and in that dialogue, we are made to understand that a husband is dear to wife or a wife is dear to a husband because he or she they see the reflection of their soul. Reflection is my word. So I said because you see your atma in them. The same way a son is dear to a father because he is looking at his atma in his son, and this vice versa also. Now, whether we are aware that it is not just the physical attachment, it is not just the sensual pleasure that is resulting into the kind of attraction that we have, but when our level of consciousness is uplifted and we become aware of the subtle aspect of our being, that is where uh, the perfect life starts dancing in our awareness. And here, whether we have Shraddha in appreciating the perfection that is hidden in us, Lord says, Sattvanurupa Sarvasya Shraddha Bhavati Bharata. Shraddha Mayo Yam Purusho Yo Yadracha Sa Eva Saha. So the kind of Shraddha that we have is going to determine, define, and make the kind of person that we become. So this Shraddha is very, very important. And that reference comes in Srimad Bhagavad Gita several times. The Shraddha would also guide us in deciding what path to take. So if we have a short-term vision, and then when the opportunity for us arrives to decide whether we will go for the Shreyo Marg or we will go for the Preyo Marg. So before that, if we look at there is one reference of Atma Tvam Prithavi Tyajet in Mahabharata. So, what comparison is given there as to what is more important? Uh, there are examples of for the for the gram, it is better to 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 sacrifice the 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 kula, and for the janpad it is it is it is advisable to sacrifice the grama. So this way, for the atma it is advisable to sacrifice the whole earth. Now this is very, very significant and important aspect. If we are looking at the importance of Atma being so precious that the wealth of the whole world is pale in compared to the bliss that we carry within ourselves. Brahmanandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. So there also the reference of Guru and Shishya comes, but we are again talking about what is it, this Atma for which our Shastras are suggesting or instructing that for the sake of Atma, leave everything. Now let us, for the sake of our understanding, say that Atma is the truth of our being. So rather than leading a falsehood life which is not truly living, it is important that we stay grounded uh, and be one with our Atma. We talked about Atma, we talked about speech, we talked about how silence also conveys the light of knowledge. Now, as we move forward in our journey of life, where we also see there are multiple distractions. So, Brahmanyadaya karmani sangam tyaktva karoti ya lipyatena sa papena padmapatram ivamasa. When we are clear about what we want, then we will remain unattached uh, by all that we have, which is not serving us in realizing or sustaining our fullness. This body is such a great gift, um, and we can do so much for ourselves. That is for Atma Kalyan, for Jagat Kalyan. Uh, that people do not want to leave it, and we want to make the most out of it, because in the Manava Yoni we get the opportunity of realizing God and realizing this essence of Aham Brahmasmi. As I move towards the concluding part of my sharing, Bharat Mata offers different path of sadhana for different seekers. There are so many branches of knowledge which are primarily aimed at helping a human being celebrate life in its fullness, whether it is through music, whether it is through other art forms, whether it is through paying attention to the pattern of our breathing, which is also now developed by different masters in a specific form, which is easy for us to practice and follow. But it is relevant for us to remember that the way you think can also be changed by regulating your breath pattern. The way you feel can also be regulated by your breath pattern. So, the conscious breathing has become a very important tool or technique for us to guide our mind. Our speech also uh, carries so much energy, and it is an important way for us not only to express ourselves but also to give who we are through our speech. So speech should be revealing, it should not be confusing for people about what we want to say. When I conclude, I also recollect the idea of yajna and the suggestion or the teaching that we should make our jivana yajna. That is, we are encouraged to tune our consciousness to the cosmic consciousness, and then aligned with the natural way of living, there is a sense of joy that is pulsating in us more loudly or clearly or prominently, get up and look at the sunrise. That itself makes us happy. Look at the trees, look at the mountains, and all these five elements are a part of us. They are extension of us. That is why perhaps being in the natural surrounding makes us naturally happy. What we eat also makes a lot of difference, and what we eat is also related to how we speak. If we do not have proper food, we may not be able to speak sometimes, or if we have some intoxicated material in our system, it may take away our ability to speak properly. So food is important, prana is important, everything is related somewhere to the speech. Indian vision, perfect speech. When I say, I want to conclude by saying that our sages or masters have encouraged us to attain Sarvatma Bhava as our Jivan Lakshya, which, which is a way of Vedantic vision uh, to highlight the sense of oneness with everyone. When we move with that sense of oneness, it automatically makes space for the love to flow from within. And this soulfulness in all our transactions, awareness of our fullness in our words and in our behavior, when this constant companion stays with us, we are rich. As humans, we all are rich, and how we make use of our richness bestowed upon us makes all the difference in creating the kind of experience that we have for us as well as for our surroundings. Now, uh, we are empowered by Bharat Mata in being clear that in the same set of circumstances, uh, we could become bitter or we could become blissful. That choice is ours. Now, being aware of this choice of whether I stay in tune to the bliss or I become bitter, it is it is empowering. It is a source of strength, and with this strength, the key to the power of breathing and regulating it towards radiance is given to us as human heritage by Bharat Mata. We are encouraged to connect our consciousness with the cosmic consciousness and make our life yajna. If we are given the freedom to experience bitterness or blissfulness, what choice we will make will also help us in being clear that Shreyo Marg is the marg that is to be opted for when the option of picking up Shreyo or Preyo Marg arrives. Shreyascha preyascha manushya metas tato samparitya vivinakti dhiraha श्रेयो ही धीरो भी प्रियसी Preyosi vranite, preyo mando, yoga shakma dranite. Coming from Katha Upanishad. In every situation, there are two paths, Shreya and Preya, good and pleasant. One who chooses the path of Shreya makes progress on the spiritual path, while one who chooses Preya misses it completely. And we don't want to miss that. But I'll miss continuity of this dialogue, but maybe some other time. Once again, thanking and extending my good wishes for one and all. Namaste.